So if you were to put the feast day we're celebrating today into into the present day, it would mean that the parents of Jesus, shortly after he was born, or sometime after he was born, took him up to the temple to be presented to the Lord. And that would be the equivalent, I suppose, of parents coming to church today to have their child baptized. And two of the things that stand out in the gospel this morning in the reading is what Simeon said to Mary. He said, "A sword shall pierce your heart." Today, we would put that in a different way. We would say, this child will break your heart. You would wonder why he would say that, but he was in fact telling Mary the truth, because we know from the Gospels that Jesus did cause Mary to stop and think about some of the things he did and said. You remember the scene in the Gospel where she and some of her family came looking for Jesus because they thought he was out of his mind. And also in the Gospel this morning, the very important, I think, are the two last lines. They returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth, and the child grew and became strong, filled with wisdom. And, filled with wisdom. And we'd ask, considering that Jesus was fully human, like any of us, where did he get this wisdom from? And that would have been given to him by Mary and also by Joseph, because you learn from your parents. Now, we don't know, but we presume that also while he was growing up and while he was living in Nazareth, as a young Jewish boy, he would have gone along to the synagogue and he would have listened to the rabbi. And he would also have familiarized himself with the Torah, with the Scriptures. That's why afterwards, when he began his public ministry, he was able to quote from the Scriptures. But the person that he turned out to be depended very much on his parents. And so from looking at Jesus from a human point of view, as a human being, they certainly were wonderful, wonderful parents. And so today, as we celebrate the Feast of the Presentation, and I'd like to just emphasize the role that parents play in the life of their children. It's a very, very, very important role. And that little child is totally dependent upon you. And very often what he turns out to be is very much also is dependent upon you. You cannot always guarantee what will happen afterwards, but it's so important, like Mary and Joseph, to give your child what we might call a very good foundation on which to build their life.